Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Blessings, blessings. And take a moment to breathe. This is my grandson, Xavier. My world. He knew I had to do a video and he's exhausted. He got up early to take Grandpa to work and now here we are. So today's video is going to be guided by the Holy Spirit within myself. Okay. It's how to build resilience within yourself using your higher power, no matter the situation, through hard situations, through trial and error. Um, yeah. So let's take a minute and invite in the Holy Spirit. If it is activated within you, you will know, you will feel this message. It will resonate 110%. I also want to mention, I know in my other videos that a higher power can mean absolutely whatever it is to you by your faith and your truth. So God, universe, Holy Spirit, Holy Trinity, whatever it is. Mine is God, Holy Spirit, Holy Trinity, all the above. So glad to be here in the physical world with all of you, co-creating the new energies and causing this amazing ripple effect and enlightenment to higher consciousness on the planet, bringing great change, unconditional love, and more light, more illumination to the dark energies. Okay. So, yeah, how to build resilience by using your higher power through any situation, relationship, your job, through the tower moments in our lives. Okay. So I have been chosen to do this in my own life, in my own line and D.N.A. of ancestors. My great ancestors have passed down gifts and abilities to me that I developed with ease and flow. Well, I tried. It was through error and trial and error first, and it became really difficult. I made my own self, uh, my situations and problems even worse, um, through the trial and error, but it was needed. It was each step and each stage that I needed to go through to humble myself. And we can all use humbling. That's the truth. 404. Okay, so definitely invite in your team in spirit and my team in spirit. And I'm feeling the Holy Spirit present. Um, so, whatever that is for you, hard situations, any trial and error, lessons learned. Okay. Um, like I said in the beginning, it was all trial and error. My life was flipped upside down, backwards. It was so painful. And some of you might want to say that you look at me and you can't really tell because of my other videos or how I only talk about the good things, the great things, everything that God said was good, right? Even the hard times I had to embrace through God to get me out of it. Because the only way out is through the hardships. And that's because we are an extension of the Creator, and He sees and knows and hears everything through you, around you. And He always comes the way it's meant to, not the way you expect it. You can expect it, okay? Pray for it, ask for it, it's given. But as our human ego mind will say, no, I need to make it happen. So I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to step out there and make it happen. It wasn't time to step out and make it happen. This is what the ease and flow is when you give your whole mind, body, and spirit to God, to whatever your higher power is. It becomes the trial and error stage. And it is so painful. And it was years and years that I put myself through this because my ego mind wanted to take control. I had some control issues. So you might be able to resonate, you know, wanting to control every situation, all your relationships, how everything plays out in your life. God is in control of all of us, including myself. I am not absentee in this life lessons. It's funny to me now, and I can laugh about it um, because through every error and the trials that I put myself through, and for the first part, I did it unconsciously. So, and we all do. Then I decided, you know what? I can't take it anymore. It's too hard. It's too painful to watch my other family members being in pain and repeating the habitual ways of thinking, feeling, and reacting in life when I was so busy, that's my dog, trying to change it. And my higher self, my higher power, literally took me for a ride. And since I was on that ride, I said, whatever. There's got to be a purpose to it. Nobody goes through this much struggle and pain in relationships. And we have relationships everywhere and with everyone and everything. So it's people, places, and things. And until I finally got that, I let go of control and I said, God, why? Why me? Why is this happening to me? And like I said, my higher self hid me from myself. And it happened slowly and persistently. And I had this passion, and my spirit here, spirit team, I had this passion to just love life and live and just dive in and see where it take me in the unknown, not knowing where it would take me, already experiencing the pain and the suffering, not even knowing yet that the whole reason for my spiritual illumination and enlightenment was that I was an extension of God and that I mattered, because I didn't believe that I mattered, and you probably don't feel that way now, or maybe you do, um, but you do. You matter. And this is really important way of how we understand a new perspective and a new perception of why we suffer, right? Um, so I kind of been turned into this high priestess, um, and I didn't know for the longest time. I was always had my ego in the way, and I didn't want to show up, and that not showing up made things worse for me. You know, I worried, I still stressed, I still went through the anxiety. Um, am I going to be able to pay my bills on time? You know, I had to trust in something that was bigger than my ego that wanted to control everything. I can't even tell you everything. You know, I wanted to control my kids. I wanted to control their relationships. I wanted to control every part of my life. And once I seen that, I'm like, why am I going through all this pain and suffering? And I said, God, I know you're there. I believed in God, even though I couldn't see or touch, you know, with my physical hands. I knew something created us in everything. When I was 8 years old, I knew that this guy's younger than 8 years old. He's 6. And when they're like this, they're so innocent and they're only being taught over and over the same habitual ways of thinking, feeling, and reacting in life to hard situations when they're innocent. I remember when I was that small, I used to have an imagination, you know, and then life happened and I grew up and experienced more heartbreak and letdowns and by relationships, and I mean family, I mean friends, I mean love life, I mean every relationship, including like things, you know, events, just let down. I realized at a young age that I was someone who um, I was seeking for a spiritual mother or a mother to be present mentally and emotionally. And I found that in my first marriage with his mom. Her name was Linda. And she was my buddy, not just a mother in law, but we got really close. And she noticed, she noticed me. She noticed that I was important. And it's not that my mom didn't, the marriage was failing because of other reasons. Like she was, uh, I'm trying to get to a specific point of the habitual ways of thinking, feeling, and reacting. So I took after my dad, I took after my mom, and um, the mental space and emotional neglect. Okay. Because of that feeling very young, I turned to God. I created very young a journal and I always wrote or I always spoke to him in secret because that's what we were taught to do, not like the hypocrite, you know. Um, but now it's okay for me to put myself out here and tell you this because I've been where you're at. I don't have to compare myself to anyone anymore because I know who I am, I know where I come from, and I know where I'm going. Okay. And that's my choice of how I choose to create deliberately and consciously now because I did it from an unconscious source, that of my parent, whoever raised you, okay, so to speak. Um, so we take on like a sponge at this age, um, even in the mother's womb. Okay, it's important that energy is present. Um, the thoughts are felt, the emotions are felt as not so much the reaction, but the feeling, because the embryo is the extension of source God energy, and we just need to pray for it. We need to pray for it every single day. Um, but okay, so however, the most important thing, if you want to get through a hard situation, what I'm saying to you is what I found out for myself personally, and I'm not separate from you, no matter where you are, physically in the world, we are energy. So I connect energetically. Okay. My greatest gift is that I went through, um, the mentality of lack and scarcity was very challenging. Um, and I changed that within myself to cause the ripple effect in the universe. And then also the emotional neglect, because I emotionally neglected my own children because I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel worthy. Um, in some cases, I was selfish and I did things only for me in some cases. Um, however, I changed all that. I changed it, and with my higher power, with the Holy Spirit, with the universe. And once I gave over all the control and just said, okay, I already know something huge is out there co creating my life with me. But when I try to control it, all hell broke loose. Okay, and this was a deliberate choice of mine. I literally got fed up. I got fed up of the pain and the suffering, but until I realized and understood the spiritual part of the pain was important. It was because I was emotionally neglecting my own needs, my own wants, my own dreams and desires. And it was a learned behavior. It was a learned behavior. And then I was like, well, okay, well, what can I do? I started asking God these questions. Who am I? Where do I come from? What are the root issues surrounding, um, my physical incarnation versus the spiritual illumination? How do I need to make this different? How can I change or start changing mentally the way I thought, or emotionally the way I was just neglecting my own needs? Like, everybody needs at least one friend, and I felt safer not communicating to people because I was closer to spirit, not even knowing that I could read the energy of animals and creatures. And I learned that all about myself once I shifted the perspective to a spiritual illumination. But you have a choice. You have a choice to kick and scream through all the trial and error, everything that you create unconsciously, until you start to bring up your unconscious consciously, deliberately, inviting it and saying, where did this come from? Where does this learned way, habitual way of thinking, feeling, and reacting come from? Where's the root issue? Okay. So I did all that. And once I started doing that and just not trying to change anything or take action physically speaking, um, I challenged my higher self to show me, and I started seeking the truth. So that's why I call myself the truth seeker. And I've been chosen by ancient ancestors and my current ancestors that have crossed over, that now know that I was the gift. I was the one that God chose because, and my ancestors chose because of the resilience I needed to build within my heart, my mind, and physically speaking, through the trial and error and the suffering. So I chose to just go with the ease and flow and trust something that was so much bigger than you can even understand, until I could actually understand it spiritually. So I'm very spiritual, and I'm very physical. I'm also eternal. And I created that deliberately and consciously with asking God, not only when trouble came, but knowing why the trouble was there and the situations were hard. It was to know that I was a deliberate or unconsciously creating through the habitual ways of thinking and feeling and reacting that was a learned behavior from who raised me. And I mean everybody in your life. You can pick and choose and point the finger, but it always has to come back to you once you're old enough to understand that you're not alone. Okay? You're definitely not alone. There's something co-creating with you even in the suffering. And I had to realize that there's spirit of deception, there's spirit of peace, right? So which one are you going to listen to? Which one are you going to listen to? And I literally am always talking to God. It says, it's on my Bible app, and because I'm a master intuitive, I just open it up and there's a message for the day for me. This is verse, okay, Luke 6, verse 27/28 in the NLT Bible. Okay, it says, "But to who are willing to listen, I say, love your enemies." Okay, so this is perfect for building resilience through God, ease and flow, and how to get through the suffering. Um, I have a mantra for that. I don't been through the emotional neglect in relationships, and this could be your parents, your siblings. I don't care who it is. You need to pray for them, and that's how collective. I learned how to embrace all the pain. Yeah, I had late nights I cried by myself because there was no one for me physically. So I have high honor in the spiritual realm. And that's why I was given to know spirit, the spiritual realm, and the physical land, earth, and how we all relate. We can all relate to some kind of suffering and start to not judge the situation, but literally give it your mind, your body, your heart, your soul to God and the situation, and do it consciously and deliberately, because you know as well as I do that there is there's something that's always bringing change, and it's a forever changing world. It's always going to change. So why fight against the change that we have no power over? We have no power over what's going on right now in the world, but we do have power of our own mind and how we decide to emotionally connect or disconnect, or how we are to react or not react. So we can be a part of the problem or we can be a part of the solution. You know, that's where it lays. This is where you get to take your power back. You get to take your power back from all the people that hurt you consciously or unconsciously, by praying for their peace, for them to find love and happiness, and then it is given. Okay, it's for the whole world. It's not about I, me, and my. It's about we and us. Okay, my light just went. But that's how you build your resilience within yourself. You give it to God, source energy. That's what I did. That's what I will do the rest of my life. My life is so much easier. I have inner peace. Maybe not all the time, because, life happens. It still happens, but it happens to remind me where I came from in the beginning and how to go with ease and flow and just radically accept that I am um, either unconsciously creating this and choosing to do it to cause harm, to be a part of the problem, um, or whatnot, and the other thing. But it's big plans, man. Big plans are happening always. Your inner being is focused on you, which is God, universe, whatever it is to you. Always, you ask, it's given. It's focused on you. You just need to line up with it. If you ask for more peace, what are you going to do to have more inner peace? You're going to put yourself first. You're going to put your needs, and this is also a way of reaching a high level of satisfaction instead of dissatisfaction. So if it satisfies you to take care of your kids without regret, okay, or any resentment afterwards, taking it back or feeling guilty about it, that's not your inner being, that's your ego. The other source will do it unconditionally, expect absolutely nothing in return, unconditional love. That is where you are being guided. And your inner universe is always coming up and saying, look at this. This is the root issue. So, a sickness, a disease, um, something that just feels off that wasn't there. Or maybe it's been there. Okay. Um, and you need to just embrace it and say, okay, I'm aware of this, and get out ahead of it deliberately and consciously, not unconsciously or through the subconscious. meaning past lives. If you don't believe in past lives, then maybe this message ain't for you. But they are real. That's another way that my team in spirit gave me past life incarnations to act them out differently. They showed me how to play them out differently than the way I seen them. And the way that I was shown was horrible. And I can't say that every single one was played out differently, but in the end, it was all worth it. It was all worth it because now changing the energy of myself, the way that I would think in the belief system, even in society, breaking all the rules. Them are not my beliefs. I am not lack of anything because when I ask, my source within gives it to me. Only I can get in my own way and make this situation worse. So that's how you build the resilience. You give it to God. God is saying, what are you doing? I'm bringing you messages of peace, even through the stress and the anxiety. And you refuse to see it. You refuse to listen. So now you have a migraine. Okay? You have a migraine. And you're all in your head. You're worried. You're stressed. Maybe you're stressed about your kids. Well, your kids also have a mission. This is called a double, triple mission now. It was a double mission for me to change it in my own life and shift on a collective level, right? It's not just about my immediate family. It started with my line and DNA of ancestors, okay? And you can do the same thing. If I did it, you can do it. And that's my message. That's how you do it. You literally have to get out of the way. You got to say, but you have to realize, however, that uh, you are connected to source energy in all ways, shape, and form. He sees, feels, and knows everything you need for your personal development in the physical, and as well as your spiritual development. Okay, so you can't just run from it. For example, if you're having a bad situation, um, not just a relationship, like a love relationship, could be platonic, whatever, or your family. It could be at work, all right? Your feelings are already showing up, which is your emotional body of energy and the mental, the thoughts, okay? The thoughts are everything. So change your thoughts, change your life, and learn how to connect more to the emotional body of energy because that is revealing to you where to move next, how to move forward, um, because it's about your satisfaction. It's about you living and feeling the freedom and your birthright mentally, emotionally, and physically and spiritually connected. Okay. Um, so, yeah, that's how you do it. You just simply say, you know what? I had enough. But know why you had enough. Because you're an extension of what you create. Misery loves company. So if you're in company of misery, what is that showing you to do next? Right? Do you stay and be comfortable in the misery, or do you walk away and put yourself first, your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health? It's about your well-being. You don't have to give two shits. Excuse me, French. YouTube. about anybody else's until you understand the importance of your own. Because you can't help them, you can't save them. You can only save yourself, just like I did. Started with me. Um, my grandma had passed, and she gave me this vision. Sorry, I want to straighten my legs. She gave me a vision. She showed me the rainbow, but only the first part of it was missing. And I'm like, okay. So I see the second half of the rainbow with a pot of gold at the end of it. And she's standing there, not moving her mouth. I just knew that she was showing me something and I could feel it. And the message was, I've already been through enough. It's time to accept who I am, step into who I am, my true authentic self, and let everything go that no longer served who I was meant to be or who I was going to step into to receive that pot of gold, which is from source. So this is abundance of love, of prosperity. Okay. Great long lasting relationships that are not painful. Not saying that they won't go one day with you have, how much stronger you are from all the, okay. Um, yeah. So you're going through it. Well, now you do. You were chosen. You were chosen to release this from your DNA, your ancestry. This is ancient ancestors. This is current ancestors that's left and gone before you. And you're still here. They are celebrating you if you've done this. They're celebrating every moment with you. And you are now a master of your own reality, right? And your sense of freedom. Oh, my battery's dying. So I pretty much got out the message today. Please read the description box if you'd like to work with me. I don't know if I said welcome to Ignite Your Soul Merging Two Worlds when I started. When I'm channeled, I don't remember everything, so please forgive me. Just read the description box. It tells all the details. Um, I don't know. I just know. So have a blessed, beautiful day. Give all your cares, worries, struggles to your higher power. Your inner being is waiting to have you experience. I love you. I love you unconditionally. Wherever you are at right now, wherever you're struggling in a situation, um, just go with the flow. Create